All right, hello everybody. Welcome to week 2 of quarter 4. Today we're going to talk about Gandhi and India. So our objectives and standards are to explain civil disobedience and its role in the movement for independence in India, and recognize the leadership of Gandhi in India. And take a moment there to read the standards if you would, please. Our desired result: how did Mahatma Gandhi and others help India gain independence? So growing nationalism. Hindus may have disagreed with Muslims on many issues, but one thing they did agree on was independence from Great Britain. Now, during the First World War, many Indians fought for the British in the hopes of gaining self-government or independence from Great Britain, but instead, at the end of the First World War, they were treated the same way they were as before the war. So, struggles. Radical nationalists in India took matters in their own hands, and they began to use violence to show their frustration. In 1919, the British passed the Rowlatt Acts that allowed the government to imprison people who protested, and they could be held without trial for as long as 2 years. And of course, many educated Indians were angry at this policy. So a massacre. So to protest this new law, around 10,000 Hindus, along with Muslims, went to Amritsar. Amritsar is up here. It's a little hard to see, but it's up here in the northern part of India. Try and circle here for you. It's up there in the north. And they went to pray, fast, meaning not have any food or anything like that, and listen to political speeches. Now, this was more of a religious meeting, basically, but it alarmed the British, who had already banned public meetings. British troops opened fire on the crowd, who were unaware of the ban of public meetings, and around 400 Indians were killed, while around 1,200 were wounded. So, calling independence. The Amritsar massacre sent many Indians from being loyal British subjects to demanding independence from Great Britain. It also allowed for this man, Mohandas Gandhi, to become a leader of the independence movement as well. Now, he believed in his religious views strongly, and he favored a different approach to political rights than violence. When the British government failed to punish the officers responsible for the massacre, Gandhi stated that the Indian National Congress should not cooperate with the British. In 1920, the Congress Party accepted a policy of civil disobedience. So civil disobedience is the deliberate and public refusal to obey a law that is unjust. Now, this does not involve violence. This is more so a non-violent, using non-violence to achieve this message. So, for example, protesting, marching, holding a demonstration, holding speeches, different things like that. So, responding to Gandhi. Gandhi also called for all Indians to boycott or refuse to buy British goods. So Indians began to make their own cloth, and British cloth suffered as a result of this. And here's a picture here of Gandhi actually sewing cloth or making his own cloth for clothing here. Others went on strike and demonstrated factories and railroads, which also hurt the British economic system as well. In 1930, Gandhi organized a demonstration opposed to the Salt Acts. Now, the Salt Acts allowed Indians, it only allowed Indians to buy salt from the British government or from the government, which, you're forcing people to buy something that might be a higher price or maybe not the same quality. So he and his followers marched 240 miles to the seacoast. And this is a painting that depicts that. And there they collected seawater, and seawater can be evaporated to make your own salt. So this becomes known as a salt march. So again, this is just another way that Gandhi and his followers were protesting British rules and regulations. Now, I'm sure you probably have figured that the British are going to refuse to allow this type of behavior. So police officers actually attacked demonstrators at salt work sites. And as police did this, Images were described by excuse me, newspapers around the globe, and as people around the world began to realize how the British were treating these Indians, especially these Indians who were protesting peacefully and being beaten up and violently abused, support grew for Gandhi and the movement for independence for India from Great Britain. More demonstrations took place, and many, including Gandhi himself, were actually arrested as well. Eventually, Gandhi and his followers will achieve their goal of independence. In 1935, the British Parliament passed the Government of India Act. Now, this provided for self-government to India, but and it limited democratic elections, but it was not a complete break from Great Britain. It did have some control still in India, but full independence from Great Britain would occur in 1947. But there were some problems in India still. The new law created tension between the Muslims and the Hindus, though. Both had conflicting views on how to rule India, and since Hindus outnumbered Muslims in India, Muslims believed that Hindus could control India if India became independent, and Gandhi will be assassinated by Naruthrum Vinak Gadus, trying my best with the name, who was a right-wing advocate for Hindu nationalism in 1948, and he will later be executed himself for murdering Gandhi, but that's kind of how Gandhi's life comes to an end. But either way, Gandhi had a huge impact on India and the people of India by allowing for independence from India through this new type of movement. Okay, so our closure here, how did Mahatma Gandhi and others help India gain independence? Think about some of the things they did and what they talked about to kind of convince the British to allow for independence, and that will help you answer your question. All right, have a great rest of your day or night, and I'll talk to you soon.